The question is, how does the movie Lost in Space affect all the collectibles that are out today? Here to tell us all about this, Alan Shrem. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing?
Great to be here.
Now, how is the market for Lost in Space with the old television show? How is that market doing, and how does the film influence that today?
Well, I think the film is going to have a lot to do with whether or not the new toys will go up, but I think a lot to do with the cable stations replaying Lost in Space again. It has a lot to do with the resurgence of the old stuff.
Oh, so there is a resurgence.
Oh, totally. I think a lot of people who forgot about Lost in Space and a lot of the toys and the collectibles that were out there are now beginning to realize and get into it again, and especially they're pretty rare.
All right, let's talk about some of the older collectibles. Now, let's start with the cards. What do we have here, Alan?
That's the Topps card set that was put out in the 60s. It was a 55-card set. Probably one of the rarest of all the 1960s non-sports card sets that are out there. And it's a set of 55, and really hard to get, especially in tip-top condition.
If you get the full set in tip-top condition,
you're going to pay anywhere from maybe $700 to $1,000, depending on where you buy it, whether or not at auction or at set sale.
No kidding.
Everything is expensive. When it comes to Lost in Space, especially the vintage merchandise, the prices are insane.
All right. Talk about prices being insane. Let's talk about this one. This is unbelievable.
This is my prized possession.
This is amazing. Tell us about this.
This is the Rotojet gun. This is probably by far the rarest of all 1960s toys.
Toys, period, not just Lost in Space.
Oh, I'm talking about everything.
All right,
and
so all the 1960s toys, this is the most rare.
It was just sold at auction recently, and bidders from all over the world were calling in to bid on this, and it actually probably realized about 3 times the value that anybody thought it was going to be worth.
So it ended up going for how much?
Almost $15,000.
This went for $15,000?
This went for $15,000, almost 15. I think like 14,800 or something like that. So
that's unbelievable. All right, let's talk about because when you talk about Lost in Space, everybody remembers the robot. So let's talk about the 2 robots that we have here, especially this one here.
Yeah, that's the AHI robot. This is actually the second one that was put out in 1977. The first one was put out by Remco, which is actually the same company, I think, and they made it in 2 different colors. That version, though, probably will sell today anywhere from $700 to $1,200.
The early one, the very first.
The very early one.
All
this one here is, of course, is a little bit less desirable because it was made 10 years later, but it was still a popular toy when it was put out then. And today, that one still commands about $300 to $500.
$300 to $500, and that's the one from 1977.
That's the one from 77 from AHI, Azra Camway.
Okay, this one looks old, but it's new.
That is actually a reproduction of the original Aurora model kit. It was put out by a company called Polar Lights, who is putting out some fantastic stuff on the marketplace today. And I had put this kit together as a kid, and to redo it again and to repaint it and to take, I mean, it took me half the time as it did as a kid to put it together, but it was just a great amount of fun. And the original model kit probably sells for about $600, $700 in the box.
Here's some of the new collectibles that have come out just recently. How is the movie going to affect that?
I think that the movie, whether or not it's going to do well, will have some sort of influence on how the toys will do. But a lot of movies attain cult status, even though they don't do well. Sometimes at the box office, like Nightmare Before Christmas, didn't do well. The toys were closed out for $10. The same toy that you could have bought of Nightmare Before Christmas for $10 is now $600 today, like a Sally doll in the box. So anything could happen with Lost in Space. It's really a roll of the dice right now because it's a little bit early.
All right, but the kids will determine that.
Playing Mantis is putting out great stuff. The kids are going to love a lot of these pieces that come out. And I think if the young kids get into it, it'll bring up the value definitely in the long run.
Thank you for stopping by.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
All right. Thanks.